I'm worried about the finances of everyday Americans who today are struggling in an economy that is not producing good-paying jobs while everything else costs more.
Hard-working families that are living paycheck to paycheck, one unexpected expense away from disaster. Young Americans, unable to start a career or a business or a family. Their everyday costs rise while their paychecks remain stagnant. They lose jobs because after-school care closes in the early evening, and they can't work late. They feel guilty that they can't afford and they don't have the time to sign their children up for soccer or dance like the other kids do. But our current structure today penalizes families who are raising our future taxpayers.
There is a penalty today in the tax code. You take two families, same income, same deductions. One has 4 children, one has none. They're paying the exact same tax rate. Our point is the family raising children are investing. If they were investing in a machine,
it's a great way to look at it.
If they were investing in a machine, they could write it off their taxes. They're investing in people, our future Americans, our future taxpayers. The tax code should recognize that.
That's why Senator Mike Lee and I have been working together to design pro-family tax reforms. As part of our upcoming proposal, the per-child tax credit she currently receives would be raised from $1,000 to $2,500 so she can keep more of her own money. And that credit would be made refundable up to the total payroll and income tax liabilities, which means whatever isn't saved through her reduction of tax liability would be received in the form of a check. My tax plan it does create, especially for working families, an additional child tax credit so that parents who are working get to keep more of their own money, not the government's money, to invest in their children, to go to school, to buy a new backpack. Because let me tell you, if you're a parent that's struggling, you know that $50 a month is a difference between a new pair of shoes this month or not getting a new pair of shoes for your kids.
Gains percentage-wise for people are going to be at the lower end of our plan. And here's why. Because in addition to a general personal exemption, we are increasing the per-child tax credit for working families.
It creates fairness. It treats families that are raising children fairly.
That's why my tax plan is a pro-family tax plan. It increases the per-child tax credit. Because I didn't read about this in a book. I know for a fact how difficult it is to raise children, how expensive it's become for working families. And I make a lot more than the average American. Imagine how hard it is for these people out there that are making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, and they're trying to provide for their families at a time when this economy is not growing.
It is expensive to raise children in the 21st century, and families that are raising children are raising the future taxpayers of the United States, and everything costs more. In 35 out of 50 states, child care costs more than college. There are millions of people watching this broadcast tonight that understand exactly what I'm talking about. They don't know how they're going to make that payment every month. And if they can't make it, they can't work because someone needs to watch their kids during the day. They don't know how they're going to save for their kids' future to go to college. And so, yes, I have a child tax credit increase, and I'm proud of it. I am proud that I have a pro-family tax code because the pro-family tax plan I have will strengthen the most important institution in the country, the family.
What happens in your house is oftentimes much more important than what happens in the White House. The most important job I will ever have will not be President of the United States. It will be to be a father to my 4 children. It's more important than government. The family is more important than any other institution in our society. And if you look at all the problems we're having in our society, from violence to economic and academic underperformance, you can track much of that back to the breakdown of the family.
Parenting is the most important job any of us will ever have. Family formation is the most important institution in society.
Because you cannot separate the social, moral well-being of your people from their economic and other well-being. You cannot separate it. You can't have a strong country without strong people. You cannot have strong people without strong values, and you cannot have strong values without strong families and the institutions in this country that defend and support those families.
We're bound together by common values. That family is the most important institution in society. If we remember that the family, not the government, is the most important institution in our society, then we will have a strong people and a strong nation.